A woman disappears. Her name is Jana Armstrong, and her sudden absence leaves an immediate, unsettling vacuum for the people closest to her. In a missing persons investigation, the clock starts ticking instantly. The first 48 hours often dictate the trajectory of the entire case. Police initiate standard protocols to establish a digital footprint. They pull phone records, analyze bank transactions, and trace vehicle movements to map out her potential location. At the same time, investigators sit down with family and friends to establish a baseline of her daily routines and latest interactions. But those initial inquiries yield nothing. There are no digital pings, no financial withdrawals, and no confirmed sightings. When the analytical data runs dry, law enforcement must pivot. The absolute silence on all fronts forces investigators to transition from tracking data to launching a desperate physical search. For Jana's family, the emotional devastation compounds with each passing hour that brings no news. They are left to grapple with painful, conflicting questions. Did she leave voluntarily, or was she taken against her will? Without physical evidence or a designated crime scene, both the family and law enforcement are paralyzed by uncertainty. A large-scale geographic search becomes the only viable path forward. The search grade expands into the remote Queensland bushland. The sheer density and scale of this environment present a massive obstacle for investigators attempting a systematic sweep. Covering that ground requires a massive mobilization of resources. Police deploy helicopters to scan from above and bring in specialist detectives to coordinate the effort. On foot, search and rescue teams comb through the heavy underbrush, using specialized equipment to scan the ground for any physical items left behind. Where visual inspections fall short, police deploy canine units, relying on the dogs to track human scents through the thick vegetation. The logistical complexity of navigating this environment dictates the pace. Locating a single piece of evidence out here requires immense manpower and precision. Then, after grueling days of searching, investigators make a grim discovery deep within the search zone. They find human remains. Police confirm the tragic identification. The remains belong to Jana Armstrong. This single discovery fundamentally reclassifies the case. The mission is no longer to find a missing person, but to build a homicide investigation. The discovery site is immediately locked down for forensic processing. Investigators begin gathering the physical evidence required to reconstruct the scene. Finding the remains provides a devastating answer to where Jana is, but it immediately triggers a darker, more complex investigation to determine exactly who put her there. Police retroactively examine Jana's final days. Every known movement is scrutinized. Investigators focus on a specific window of time when she was last seen alive, cross-referencing vehicle movements and digital signals to identify anyone who traveled toward the discovery site. After connecting these movements to earlier statements, police announce a major development. Jana's former partner is officially charged with her murder. An arrest secures a prime suspect, but laying a charge is only the beginning of the legal burden required to prove guilt. There is a strict divide between what police allege in their charge and what has actually been proven in court. The accused former partner remains legally presumed innocent. The charge is an accusation based on the police timeline, not a verdict. To secure a conviction, the prosecution must meet a high burden of proof, establishing guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Locating Jana in the remote wilderness was a grueling physical challenge. Proving the exact circumstances of her death will now be a rigorous legal challenge, testing every piece of gathered evidence. The investigation leaves the rugged isolation of the bushland and moves into the formal, structured setting of the justice system. For Jana's family, the agonizing physical search has come to a bitter end. They no longer have to search the wilderness for answers, but their pursuit of truth and justice in the courtroom has only just begun.